You can see that car just get a little bit loose, and there's just such a small margin for error because we talk about these racetracks, newly paved.
Turn 3 that last. You just drove in there straight.
We saw moments ago, Kurt Busch got very, very loose, and apparently it got worse. Let's take a look at what happened.
Yeah, early in the corner, he entered turn 3, and for whatever reason, I don't know if he got loose getting in the corner or what happened, but he just couldn't turn it, and he ended up way out of the groove, probably earlier than we've seen anybody else out of the groove. Just has to chase the car up the racetrack, and now he's in trouble because there's just no grip. You see all that dust flying behind the car. That's all the debris from the tires. These tires, they put a powder down. They really don't lay down rubber. They lay down powder.
Difficult it is. Look how sideways Kyle Busch is. That car's crashed. It's basically crashed. He putting down his own tire tracks. He saves it, and unbelievably doesn't overcorrect. It's so easy for that car to turn back to the right. He works it back and forth.
Talk about how difficult turns 3 and 4 is. Here's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. all the way on the exit of turn 4. Gets loose, makes pretty good contact with the outside wall. Luckily, the 42 of Kyle Larson you see there in the red and white wall in the middle of 3 and 4.
That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. again. Up into the wall. He got into the gray, and the caution comes out. The lap before, he hit the wall in 4. The right front tire down, a lot of damage to the right side of that car.
Damage to the car. Looks like to me it probably cut a tire down, ends up getting into the wall. But all that started because of what happened the lap before. And this is what we've been talking about all weekend long. We've been seeing these kind of incidences happen.
Of the 2 of Brad Keselowski, but the top group of 1 and 2. We talked about how treacherous the racetrack is.
Around goes the 48. Jimmy Johnson around and into the wall. Caution comes out again.
Hold the brakes. That happened. See the 48, he just got in there and got loose. I mean, plain and simple, he was underneath another car, lost the side force, lost down force, had to chase up the racetrack. It just got away from him.
Yeah, almost in a 3 wide position. I don't think if he was completely 3 wide, but Kyle Busch was looking underneath the 48. He had another car on the outside of him. It looks like it was the 21 of Ryan Blaney. Definitely a compromised position in the toughest end of the racetrack to have all that. And now we're on board with Dylan. Just to be a great view of what happened.
You see, he gets in the corner, goes to the yellow line like you want to go, and see it start to wiggle. Now it's just gets away from him. You know, he just tried to keep the pace up because on these restarts, like I said,
Jimmy Johnson, the 6-time champion, behind the wall. And the damage got so bad that the 22 of Joey Logano into the wall even harder. 26-year-old out of Middleton, Connecticut now in the garage. Take a look at what happened. And we are under caution.
See the yellow and red car going down the back straightaway. See the right front failed. You saw the hood blow up. That right there was when the right front failed, and now it's just the car is just not going to turn. It's going to go straight. I'm sure most likely damage from when he got in the wall earlier, although I didn't really see the right front of the car hit the wall at any point. But we have seen no tire issues in the Cup cars at all this weekend, so hard to believe it didn't have something to do with it. He lifts off the throttle, watch the hood, boom, and there's nothing you can do. He's got the wheel turned, it's going straight. You know it's going to hurt, you know it's coming. It takes forever to get to the wall.
Just come out. The 83 hard impact, Matt DiBenedetto up into the wall. He was 29th when he got into the wall, and now he's rolling once again. This could play into Brad Keselowski's strategy.
Well, it absolutely saves in the corner. Car looks like it just goes straight, almost maybe like another tire failure. I tell you what this has me thinking, and we heard Joey Logano say it. This racetrack is much more like a short track than it is than a mile and a half, typical mile and a half. It makes me wonder if these drivers aren't having to use more brake than they anticipated to get the car slowed down, and they're melting beads. We've seen this before. We've seen rotor issues when we come to racetracks when teams aren't expecting them to be this slow. Quite possibly the teams just weren't prepared for the pace. You have to slow down getting into these corners.
And not just the track, because remember, Jeff, this is that new aero package.
Exactly.
Well, when you shrink that rear spoiler to take the down.
Rewind.
Oh, and around goes the 21 of Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott as well. The 2 youngest on the racetrack are around.
I saw it 3 wide, and I wondered how in the world is that going to work? And it didn't. Somebody's got to make a decision right here. Do I want to be 3 wide? 21 gets loose, gets into the side of the 24. Both of them have long nights.
That 21 was right in the middle of the 3 wide. And we have seen Jimmy Johnson, a 6-time champion, be in that position. The same thing happens. It gets loose and up the racetrack he goes. This time he collects the 24 of Chase Elliott. McMurray tonight. The 40-year-old out of Joplin, Missouri, has made his way up into the top 2. And Kyle Busch is going to lose another spot, and around they go on the backstretch. Chris Buescher involved in the 34. 44 of Brian Scott also involved in this one. A lot of damage to the 34. Look at the front of that race car.
That took a huge impact right there.
So disappointing for this team. They had ran well in every practice. They showed speed all weekend long. They kept getting themselves further back in the pack. 4 tires on pit road. They got blocked on pit road one time and kept getting them back in the pack. And this is the danger of being back there. They had a good race car tonight.
Brian Scott in the 44, damage to that car.
Turned around. I don't know if you've seen a replay yet. We come off a 2 there when they got it.
A.J. Allmendinger involved. A.J. Allmendinger, another one of those drivers you thought could have a good finish here, would help his possibilities of getting into the chase. There, the 44 of Brian Scott is sideways. Saves it coming off of 2, but then looks as though Kyle Larson may have been in the back of him when he came off of 2. And there's the heavy contact.
Yeah, and you saw the backfire out of the tailpipes of the 44 as he was trying to save the car. It looked like he was maybe on and off the throttle. His speed probably reduced. The 42 is right behind him. You see the safer barrier doing a good job absorbing some of the impact there.
When a car gets that slow in front of you, you can be all the way off the gas and you're still pushing them. You know, Kyle Larson looked to be in the back of him, but all the trouble started, and Kyle just couldn't get slowed down.
A little bit of damage to the front end of 10 of Danica Patrick, but a lot of damage to Chris Buescher's number 34. Another look. There was the impact between Chris Buescher and the 44 of Brian Scott. A.J. Allmendinger involved, as well as the 95 of Ty Dillon. Contact there also with the 7 of Regan Smith. Right along with Dale Jr.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All the way clear, 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 clear. Big wreck back here. Caution's out. Good job.
Dale Jr. made a decision to go, and he just stayed with it. Quick decisions have to be made. See the 44 underneath the 11 in a compromising position. That makes you loses all his momentum. The 42's in the back of him. Tony Stewart barely gets by. The 34, big impact. 47. See the 95 of Ty Dillon. He got slowed down pretty well.
And Rick, we talked at the top of the show about the chase grid and what could possibly happen on the chase grid. And just in the last 2 accidents, we've seen the 24 of Chase Elliott, the 21 of Ryan Blaney in major accidents. Now the 47 of A.J. Allmendinger. All of those cars are vying for those 5 spots still available by points without a win. Major points up.
4, someone got up into the wall, it looks like. That's the 7 of Regan Smith. Hard contact with the right side as the caution has come out. Quite a few of the green flag pit stops had cycled through. That put Martin Truex Jr. back up front. Kyle Busch was running second, and hard contact by Regan Smith.
He had yet to bend to pit road, Rick. That was 51 laps since the last time he was on pit road. You see him here at the top of the screen entering turn 3 at the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, you see something come off the car. I would assume either something broke or the tire went down. That looked actually like a piece of the hood flap. When the right front tire pops, usually it's a pretty big explosion. It takes that cowl flap or hood flap and the hood blows it out of the car, and then much like we saw with the 22 earlier, just a long straight ride up to the fence.
That was a big impact. The angle where he hit, I mean, he just hit at a really hard angle. That was a much bigger impact than we saw, say, Joey Logano's.
Yeah.
That was able to
Oh, around goes to 15. Clint Boyer sideways, and the caution will come out.
You're right there. If you don't have a flat, stay out on the apron. I think I do have a flat.
15 underneath the 10 of Danica Patrick. He's already sideways. Now he's trying to chase it up the racetrack. He's just loose underneath her. Did a really good job of staying off of her. I mean, he really did. She did a nice job of maintaining her pace, and it's along for the ride at this point.
And that's what you had just discussed. That
look at the motor glowing in the front, though.
Yep.
See, I'm sorry, it's not the rotor going. That's a mark on the wheel.
Getting to the side of a car, though, and that's what happened with Danica Patrick. Just was on the outside of the 15, takes that air off of the spoiler, and around goes the 15.
He's also compromised. You can see they were pretty much 3 wide, so we entered very shallow, meaning he had to turn early, getting into the corner. And on top of that, he had all the downforce being taken off the car, and just came around on him.
And the free pass goes to the 10 of Danica Patrick. Jay Allmendinger coming back out on the track has major damage to the front end of that car. The hood has flown up over the windshield, and the caution will come out again. See if we can see what happened. This is in the front stretch.
Saw a lot of smoke out of the car before it hit the wall, and then the hood comes up. You know, it's really hard to see.
NASCAR nonstop. And we're not going to go NASCAR nonstop because the 38 gets into the wall. Landon Castle, after that save that we just watched, he was running 19th.
Taking the paint off the sidewall here. We got.
Already up into the wall, top of your screen.
Not sure what started that, but obviously we saw him in trouble earlier. I don't know if potentially when he got next to the car beside him, if maybe he cut a tire, cut a sidewall or something. Really hard to tell. But I wonder what does Almirola, what does that team do on this stop? Tony Stewart, they're on the same strategy. Trevor Bain, they're on the same strategy. Do they stay out? Do they do no tires? The corner into turn 3. He's actually approaching turn 4, and for whatever reason, it just got out of the groove. And then once he got out of the groove, he was along for the ride. Listen to the throttle. So he got into the corner. He got into the corner and kind of missed the bottom. He probably was a little bit tight. You saw his hands adjust to the right. When he fed that big wiggle.
Oh.
We hit the wall here, Nick.
Yeah. Oh, careful.
Pit road. Hang on. Stay now. Good job.
See, he just never got the car turned down in turn 3. You can see, I mean, he was faster than Suarez as he entered turn 3 by our time, but he just never got the car turned down and then tried to keep that momentum. If you're going to stay in the throttle, you can see right there, he started fighting it just even before he got to the center of the corner.
Yeah, the 90 of Alex Gwinnett looks like he's still entering pit road. And the 88 of Cole Custer is going to try to leave pit road right here. And the 90 turns across the left, taking a left. He's the car on the left side of the screen. You see heavy contact with Cole Custer. That is some heavy damage to the right front fender, Dave.
Of Ross Chastain way out of the groove and all the way up to the wall.
And then right behind him, the 33 car, he had trouble as well, and he actually went up and hit the wall. See the 33 drives in the corner. See the car's loose, see it shaking. Listen to the tires spinning. It's not good when you hear the tires spinning, I can tell you that.
Platter turns 3 and 4. Eric Jones staying on the gas. Jones is going to pass him on the outside as the 07 spins. Caution comes out. Ray Black Jr. in the 07 goes around. As we saw in countdown to
great driving.
Yeah, you see the 07 just up in the gray. Nothing he could do at that point. Jeff just, does a good job of staying in the gas. But who that benefits just came through the picture. That 3, we talked about that penalty of Ty Dillon, but now he'll get to be up in front of those lap cars. Ray Black hard in the gas. That's impressive to know you're going towards the wall, stays in the gas. You see that left rear tire driving the car off the wall. Definitely reducing the damage that could have happened.
Yeah, that saved that car. If he hadn't have done that, you can see he gets in the wall right there, not heavy contact at all. If he had not have done that, probably would have done rear frame damage and spent a lot of money and a lot of time fixing that car for a team that has a lower budget.
Brendan Poole's going to get the free pass, so that will put 10 cars on the lead lap for the restart. Elliott Sadler, an impressive move on the restart. Went from the outside.
Sir Gallagher and Kyle Busch. Busch into the wall.
That's us. We're 30-23 yards.
Heavy damage to the left side of the machine of Kyle Busch. Jordan Anderson underneath Gallagher.
Yeah, I think Jordan went into the corner and gave Anderson a little bit of extra room, and that caused him to be higher than Kyle expected him to be, and the two made contact.
It almost looked like Spencer turned away from Jordan Anderson, and that was just enough to get into that left rear of Kyle Busch's truck.
Parker Kligerman had to avoid that mishap as well, nearly got involved. A couple of guys from Las Vegas.
Yeah, Abreu looks like maybe he was on the outside of Self. Self got loose and they made a little bit of contact. You can see that's pretty significant. Look at the Bondo and parts and pieces fly off that 22 truck as he hits.
Tough break for both these drivers and teams.
I think Abreu's going to be able to get away, Vince, without much damage. This will certainly back.
He had a season best 13 just a few races ago back at Texas. Did Self.
Is brought to you by Ford. We go further so you can. And by Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling. That smoke is from this fire. One fan that is here watching the race is going to have a very, very uncomfortable trip back into the parking lot. That is